Hey everybody, welcome back to another Sorted Builds video. Today I'm going to talk about why I picked the Porsche 914 for this big project, and then also talk about what engine we decided to go with, and later on in the video you'll see us pulling that engine and transmission combination out of the junkyard. So the reason I picked the Porsche 914 is it's still affordable as a sports car. You look at Porsche as a brand, and the 911s, they are just extremely expensive. Parts are expensive. So the 914 gets you into that Porsche brand at a lower cost with just as much fun. There's really good aftermarket support for these models. You can go to places like Sierra Madre Collection, Auto Atlanta, and then of course using like eBay, and other sources like that. So big aftermarket support, and there's nothing worse than buying a project car, getting into it, starting working on it, and then you're having a hard time finding that part that you need. So parts accessibility is a big deal. One of the other reasons is I think that these are a lot cooler cars than the credit that they've been given. They are lightweight, mid-engine, have exceptional handling, and a very simplistic design. So I was really impressed with all the little features and the engineering in this car. Like I said, lightweight. We're still going to maintain that mid-engine setup, so that's going to give you better balance. Some people have said that, you know, this car handled even better than the Porsche 911 when it was built. So those are the reasons that we picked the 914 as a project. But let's get into choosing an engine. So I wanted to put another 4-cylinder in. I know a lot of guys do the V8 swaps. I've seen some 6-cylinder swaps. But I just wanted to keep the weight down and find a 4-cylinder that is capable of making good power with a turbo. I also wanted to maintain the longitudinal setup. So what that means is the engine is running front to back instead of transversely, where it has a transaxle. And the problem you would have with the transaxle in this car, I've seen it can be done, but you end up cutting into that trunk space because your engine pulls towards the back of the car. So with the longitudinal, I'll be able to keep the engine somewhat in its original placement, and be able to not lose that trunk space in the back of the vehicle. So when I first started thinking of what engine to put in, I thought about a Honda K-Series. I haven't really ever done one. They've always been really interesting to me. And I thought that would be a perfect engine to put in this car. But then we start to get into some issues with, you know, I want to stay with somewhat similar or same manufacturer, but then also the ease of installation. So if I used a Honda K-Series, then I'd have to have a transmission and get an adapter plate to mount that engine to the transmission. And I also want to make sure it has lots of aftermarket support for the engine that we decide to go with. And of course, Honda has great support. But what we ended up going with is a 1.8 turbo Audi A4 engine, and it was a front-wheel drive. And what that allows is in the all-wheel drive Audi 1.8, it has our output shaft at the rear of the transmission going to the rear differential. But in the front-wheel drive, it has the axle flanges on the side of the case that line up perfectly with the placement of where the old transmission was in this car. So I'm able to put that transmission in the same place and it work correctly, because you're basically just taking that engine from the front of the car and you're moving it to the back of the car. And that's a comparison of what it would be in the Audi versus what it is in here. So the engine code for this engine is a AMB. Those are found in the Audi. These little bit about this engine is the ports on the cylinder head are a little bit smaller than if you were to use a Passat AEB engine. It has larger intake ports, a different intake manifold. It also has a cable throttle body, which would work good, but I ended up buying a cable throttle body to put on the AMB. But one of the things that's really good about the AMB is it does have variable valve timing solenoid on it. And it's basically an on-off switch. So I'll be able to program it in the computer to turn it on at a certain RPM and then to turn it off when I don't want that variable valve timing to engage. So yeah, that's what we ended up going with, and the reason I said I wanted to stick with the same or similar manufacturer is Audi is Volkswagen. Volkswagen built the original engine for this car, and so we're pretty much staying in line. There were even some 1.8 Porsche 914s that were built, so we can even put a 1.8 badge on it, and we're not lying. But there's a lot of things we need to do to this engine in order to make the power that we want. So we have a horsepower goal of 350 to 400, which this engine is very capable of doing. It's just going to require a few parts. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put rods in it. Rods are the weak point of this engine. It does have a forged crank, so we don't have to do anything there. And then I'll probably put pistons, although they're not necessary for this power. It depends on when I tear the engine down and see what condition everything is in. And then we have to change exhaust valves. So these exhaust valves that are in this engine are sodium filled valves, and they have a tendency to basically burn on lean condition. So I want to get those out, and then we want a high revving engine. So we're going to put new valve springs in it. And then of course our power is going to come from probably a G25 Garrett turbo. This has a TD03 in it. A lot of guys will just upgrade to a TD04 in like an Audi or a Volkswagen, but we're going to have to go a little bit bigger to get that power that we want out of this engine. So anyways, that covers a little bit why we picked this car and then why we chose the engine that we did. So enjoy the video and we'll get to the action of me pulling this engine out of the car at the junkyard. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's get to the action. All right, today we're headed over to a pick and pull yard, which I haven't been to in years, probably like 7 years since I have been into one. But I got a lead on an Audi A4 with a 1.8 turbo and a 5-speed manual transmission. It's a front wheel drive transmission, so it's going to work perfect to just move that whole power plant to the back of the car. So we're headed over there, gonna pull it, take it home, and then the plan with that motor is going to be to build it up, put rods and pistons in it, go through the whole motor, and then probably put a limited slip in the transmission. So yeah, let's go get it. All right, we're here at the junkyard, so we're gonna walk out there, check out the car. I'll show you that, and then we'll probably just set up a time lapse and me pulling this motor and tranny. So let's go. Right here, this is it. Got a 1.8 turbo. Turbo's on it, even though we're not probably going to be using that. And she is a 5-speed manual. Transmission was in here yesterday. I'm sure it still is. Yep, there it is. So, better get to work. Gonna pull the whole front bumper and that whole radiator support, pull the hood off, and I'm gonna pull her straight out the front. Alright, so she's about ready to go. What the problem I have is I broke a socket called triple square. What happened is I didn't bring the right ones, and so I tried to use a little chintzy one and broke an adapter inside of it. So waiting for my son, he's going to bring me the right triple squares so I can pull the axles off. That's the only thing left to pull. I think we've been here about an hour and a half, so pretty quick work. I'm going to go get an A-frame, bring it over here, and then when I get the triple squares, I'll put it back in time lapse, and you'll see us yank this thing out of here. All right, here we go. Got the triple squares. My son brought them. Also, I didn't bring any wrenches with me, but I don't even know if I need them because I think all I have left is triple squares, so I was able to get it all out. So, back on the time lapse we go. Only thing left to do is pay. All right.